Joining us on the pod from San Antonio, Texas,
Texas in the house.
our first ever call-in, Brad Eberly. Brad, how are you doing today?
Gabriel, I'm doing really well, man. It was a warm fall day here in Texas, and nothing better than to cool it down with some ice cold water with a hint of cucumber.
Anything else you want to
It's
rub in?
fantastic.
The cucumber does accent the water ever so nicely, does
I'll
it
tell
not?
you, Spencer, have you ever tried water accented with cucumber?
I have not, but I've seen the movie
Oh.
The Other Guys, and I really wanted to try it ever since.
Oh my God.
It is delectable. It is so good.
So good.
I'm all for trying to improve my drink selections. Is it better with the cucumber than just like straight from spring water? Like
Oh, you have to have the cucumber. It's
It's
not
a-
real water.
it's like mandatory, like a blue moon. You have
It
to have
is.
an orange in it. It's like that.
Same thing.
All right. I just gotta hold a cucumber in my pocket wherever I go and like get a water and just like cut it. Get a fresh
That's all you
one.
need to do.
All right, man.
Yeah.
I'm down.
You know who broke the rules this offseason? The Golden State Warriors. You're allowed to have a big three. But then they got Kevin Durant, arguably the third best player in the league. Now Vegas writes out over under for games to win, has them at 66.5. Brad, are you buying 66.5 out of 82?
I could definitely see that. They might even surpass that, by miles. If they all stay healthy, if Kerr doesn't, monitor their minutes to the Popovich extreme, I could see them blowing past that.
I would have to agree with you. I think definitely 66.5 is a good number, but I think they're going to have at least 67, 68. They're fantastic. They don't have the depth they had last year, but they're still just going to mesh and play so well together.
Everyone else is taking the over. I'm going to be different. Take the under. But here's the more important reason why.
Because it's 66, not 66.5. Is that why, Gabe?
That half does. That's what does it for me, that half. But no, in all seriousness, the Warriors, by acquiring KD, you trade him in for Barnes, yes. But what did they give up? They gave up all of their front court depth.
I wouldn't say all of it. Bogut left, but Bogut's replaceable with Zaza Pachulia. They lost Mo Buckets then, Mo Spates,
Yes.
Yeah.
which isn't much of a loss.
But they got smaller, so they got better at what they were already good at, which is spacing and shooting the three, and they got worse at rebounding and being big, rim protection.
I think that's what the NBA's turning to now, though. That every team's getting smaller and setting up smaller lineups that all can handle the ball out there. I think they're most effective when Draymond's in their five.
The Cleveland Cavaliers showed that you can beat up on the Warriors 4-7 games, and they won that series because they simply... You know why I also don't like this? You live and die by the three. On the average, you'll only make 35-36% of your
There's nothing
threes.
average about Klay Thompson and Steph Curry.
All right, they make maybe 40%, yes. Do you know what happens when you shoot and depend on the three? You get a lot of rebounds. You know who's not going to get those rebounds? The smaller Golden State
But they take a lot
Warriors
of
team.
threes, therefore they get a lot of long rebounds, which guards can get.
Right. So there will be games that you shouldn't have won that you'll win with the three, but there will also be games that you will lose shooting the three. Also, last year they were going after the record. This year they know they're going to have to rest up a little more, which is why I think they're taking this. I'm taking the 66.5 under.
Good reasoning.
Brad?
I can see your point, definitely. I give the Cavs all the credit in the world last year, but the Warriors did not have Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's so versatile; he can space out the floor, but you can dump it down to him as well, and he's a pretty low post threat.
Here's the other thing for me. I think there will be chemistry issues. I really do.
I don't think so at all. I think this is the exact core of players that won't have that problem.
I have to agree, Spencer. I mean, they've been recruiting him for who knows how long, at least all last year, and they're all friends, and Kevin Durant in a bigger city.
And ultimately, that's probably why KD even came to Golden State. He felt like he had that chemistry with them, and he felt welcomed by them. And Steph is not a selfish superstar. He wants to pass the ball and he wants to score, but they all just mesh together. That's what makes the Warriors so great is their team ball. And I think Kevin Durant's a team player.
First of all, everyone is like that when you're going 20-4 to start off the season. But come down the season, maybe you lose a game that you should have won. And here's the X factor for me, Draymond Green. He is such a hothead. You love it when it's productive on the court, but at the same time, you can argue that is exactly what lost them the championship. If Draymond Green is all in and he doesn't kick anymore, which we saw again already preseason,
Oh, he'll kick.
he has some more off the court issues because he's what unlocks that small ball lineup. And so then you can't have KD at the 5. It just won't work. So if Draymond Green is okay being the number 4 guy on the team, taking even less shots than normally, then yes, the Warriors, they'll be outstanding.
What makes them a super threat, though, is now that you have KD, you have him, Steph, Clay, all outside the perimeter with Draymond, who can dribble the ball, can kick it out at any time, and there's no way you'll have enough depth on the other team to guard all 3 of them shooters. Like, there's no way they're going to be able to do that. Kevin Durant's going to see a lot more open shots now than he ever saw in OKC.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, their transition game is going to be incredible.
Oh yeah, they'll be fun to watch. Brad, do you blame KD for leaving OKC, and do you think it's cheating that he went to the Warriors?
No, not at all. He gave OKC everything he had. I don't think he made a wrong decision. I would have left. I mean, I hear it all the time. You want to adults in their big people job. They can move around if they want to, if they feel like it. I don't see why NBA players have to be, kind of enslaved.
All right, so here's my take on it. This is where I have the problem. If he would have went to the Warriors any other year, I would say exactly that. I would have no problem with it. What my problem is he was on a team that was up 3-1 on the Warriors, and you and Russell Westbrook are both top 5 players in this league. It comes down to him and Russell's fault, like them guys, why they didn't make it to the championship. And I'm just thinking, if I was an OKC fan and I saw us up 3-1 on them, and then watch my superstars go out there and blow that I kind of want to come back and beat them.
Right,
like
because
their
of how
team is good
close you
enough.
were, how close you were. Plus, they got Victor Oladipo, who can lock down on defense.
Their defense is good enough to beat the Warriors on their own, and now he left and joined them. And OKC is like, wow, we were this close to beating them, and now we're even farther apart. Like, they have to be devastated to lose their guy that way. But it's not even that. If he would have went to any team other than the team he'd lost to, I also wouldn't have a problem with that.
I'd be okay with that.
I also would not have a problem with that.
It's a fact for me.
That's a good point.
It's the fact they left for the Warriors this season. That's what does it for me.
Yeah, this season though.
I can totally get why he left OKC too. Russell Westbrook, as good as he is, he hogs the ball a lot, and there were so many possessions where they'd wait, dribble, end of the shot clock, desperation pass to KD. He's shooting up a shot with a hand in his face. I can totally get why he left OKC.
Yeah, and him coming to Golden State is a great business move by him. It does hurt his legacy, but if people even care about that, I wouldn't if I was him. I want to get those rings. I want to get that money. I want to play with friends. I want to play where I feel comfortable and have fun. I don't think Kevin Durant really cares what people think about his legacy.
Oh, when you're that big, you can't.
Right, and it's not like Kevin Durant's ever going to be Michael Jordan or even LeBron. He's not going for that. He's just going to have a good time and make money.
He wants rings.
Right, and rings come with great teams with that he joined.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
Speaking about a team that almost got KD, Boston Celtics. Could you imagine if they had KD? They'd be the number 2 definitely. Maybe push Cleveland for number 1. Right now, Boston is expected to be at 51.5 games. Brad, do you like that?
I do actually. Their core is great now that they got Al Horford in. They have some young up and coming players like Jaylen Brown. They have an excellent coach in Brad Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
I think the culture's there. I think they have pieces to excel in the East for sure.
Can't even forget about their best player, Isaiah Thomas.
You got the All-Star in Isaiah Thomas as well. Yep. Yeah, now he won't have to. It was such a struggle watching him last year when he had to score all the time, and now he won't have to do that. They can space it, and if they have Al Horford, he can take over if he needs to.
Yeah, Boston will be a fun team. Probably make the playoffs, yeah.
I hope they do because LeBron eats on the Celtics, and I would love to watch that matchup again.
Oh, that's just not right.
All right, we haven't talked about the two other challengers to Golden State, since Golden State is the favorite this year. Cleveland and San Antonio, both expected to get 56.5 wins, win their divisions. Brad, coming from San Antonio, can you see them competing with Golden State for the West?
This year is going to be tough. They lost possibly one of the greatest big men that I have ever seen for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Such a team guy. I mean, his hands were huge. I'm talking about Boban here. Losing Timmy is hard, but his production went down. Obviously, getting older. The only hard part there is going to be the on-court coaching, in my opinion. Bringing in Powell. It's going to be good because he can hit down the mid-range jumper and space the floor even more and give LaMarcus maybe a little bit more room. I think it's going to be really tough to give Golden State a run for their money, but if anybody, I would give it to the Spurs to hold.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Tim Duncan, although he wasn't the Tim Duncan that we know the last couple of years, him just being there is a huge asset for the San Antonio Spurs. Being there for the young players, being like another coach there, his presence will definitely be missed, although his playing ability wasn't up to par last couple of years. But filling in with Powell's pretty much up there with his intelligence and his play. His play's still all-star level. Kawhi Leonard is one of the best two-way players in this league, if not the best. It's his team now. I think Kawhi can lead them past the Warriors too, with Greg Popovich at the helm. I'm going for the Spurs this year. I really, really hope they get past the Warriors and let's have another epic matchup with LeBron James.
Here's the thing about Tim Duncan. And people that don't know basketball or don't know what they're talking about said this all last year. Tim Duncan, he's too old. Get him off the court. No. When he was off the court, defensively, the San Antonio Spurs were statistically and significantly much worse. He was the anchor of that team, plus off the court, the leadership he provided. It's a huge loss. Now, you match him with Pau Gasol. I mean, you switch him for Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol offensively is better. Where does Pau Gasol struggle? He's a big man with his feet on the defensive end, especially in the pick and roll. I don't know. It's gonna be. He's gonna have some nights where it's gonna look pretty ugly. But I don't. If you're gonna replace one of the greatest power forwards of all time, you can't go too wrong with Pau Gasol.
Plus, we can't forget Tony Parker's gonna be that coach on the court still. He's still be that veteran
and they
presence.
brought back Manu.
Man, Manu's still there. I mean, those two are still gonna replace Tim Duncan's presence out there, captain wise, and all that. I think they'll be fine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely 2 or 3 seed for the Spurs. Yes, Brad?
Yeah, I was going to agree with you there. 2 or 3 seed. I think the Clippers, I mean, they can run and gun a little bit better with the Warriors because they're a little bit younger, I guess you could say. They just have pieces I think that would fit better against them matchup-wise, but
why don't you think the Clippers can make that jump?
Can never write them off.
Yo, Brad. What's your opinion on the Clippers? Like, why can't they make that jump?
I don't know if it's something like
because they got the big men, they got the shooters, they got the captain point guard.
Yep.
Doc Rivers, Hall of Fame coach.
Doc Rivers. I mean, maybe it's a chemistry issue that isn't being leaked out yet. I don't really know. Their injuries plagued them the last couple of years. Stupid decisions.
You're right about that, Brad. I did hear that Chris Paul and Blake Griffin have some off the court chemistry issues, so that might be playing into that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, those are technically your 2 biggest stars, and
And Hack of Jordan doesn't help either.
Which the Spurs started, might I add. Hack a Shaq.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so Clippers at 53.5, over or under?
I'm going to take the over, only because they're going to be locked in the regular season. But like we saw the past how many years, they start to crumble in the postseason. I'm going to take the over on that. I think
I'd have to agree with you as long as the injuries don't hold them back.
Yeah, right.
All right, that's fair. How about Cleveland 56.5, over or under?
I'm going to take the under, and it's of no disrespect.
Brad. Come on, Brad. Is this you being a Spurs fan or is this you being an NBA fan?
Why are you taking the under, Brad?
I mean, they brought home a championship last year to Cleveland. That's amazing.
Think they're just going to get content?
Older. What's that?
You think they're just going to be content with their ring now and thinking it's just going to be a...
No, I think they're going to chase the ring, but I think they're going to take it a little bit easier knowing the grind in the postseason. And I don't think they want to be down, 3-1 in the finals.
I don't think anyone does. Statistically, they were the only team to ever come back from that. Well, that right there just tells everybody anything's possible.
Yeah, that's for sure. And once you have LeBron, really anything's possible. He was amazing last year.
Right.
I think he should. I understand why people are saying this is his last MVP type season. I think he should take it a little bit easier. Not coast, but be content in this regular season and gear up for the playoffs.
I think LeBron needs to be more selfish, which is weird to say because no one ever wants a superstar to be more selfish. But he definitely needs to be more selfish if he wants to bring the Cavs out there again, because he's too much of a team player and unselfish, and that kind of holds him back. His offense, when he drives, it's unstoppable. He needs to drive more. JR needs to not do JR things and like untie people's shoes and get technicals, and I think they'll be fine. But JR is going to be JR, and LeBron's going to be that team player that's going to play unselfish, and I think they're going to come out slow like they do the last couple of years, and they're going to still get over 56 and be right in the finals again.
I don't know if I'm taking the over or under on the Cavs. Here's what I do know. I'm not betting against LeBron for the championship.
Right.
He's in his prime. He's past his peak, yes, but he's still in his prime. They re-signed that championship winning team. Plus, they got a couple decent free agent acquisitions, the Birdman for one. They're the same team that show that they can beat the Warriors. Here's the thing. The Warriors will have a target on their back this season. This year, LeBron, for the first time in his career, really relatively low pressure because everyone's expecting the Warriors to win. Plus, Kyrie Irving is coming into his own. He might be better than Steph Curry.
Overall play, probably he could, but Steph just definitely got him right now.
Defensively, though, Steph Curry's a better shooter, yeah, but I think Uncle Drew has better handles. He can get by him. Steph Curry could not keep up with Kyrie Irving. I like Cleveland to win the championship. I expect Golden State to probably get around 60 wins, and Cleveland to be around 57.
One thing I'm concerned with the Cavs is their backup point guard. I don't even know who they have.
Kay Felder, the rookie. But other than that, LeBron plays point most of the time anyway.
I understand that. For sure.
But Kay Felder out of Oakland, they got him in a trade on draft night. Excellent little player. He's like 5'9", but he's stacked like a NFL running back, and he's a big time scorer. He dropped like 40 on Michigan State, and like he can come to play.
Moving on, let's discuss the team where we're probably going to discuss what they lost in the offseason more than anything else. OKC. With Durant gone, Vegas has them at 45.5. Do they make the playoffs, Brad?
I think they'll make the playoffs. That's tough. So early. I do think they'll make the playoffs just because of Russell Westbrook and his maniac playing skills. He's like the scariest player I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Actually got to see him in person last year, and he is, every time he had the ball, got the ball off a rebound or whatever, and geared up, that was frightening.
Right.
I think they'll squeak into the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make much noise just because of who they lost, and they didn't really add anybody that could elevate them, in my opinion.
Yeah, they only went down from last year.
Yeah, for sure.
But Russell Westbrook without KD there, he might get the MVP this year. He's my favorite for the MVP.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm taking the over on OKC, and just listen to Russell Westbrook. He's going to play with more energy. He's going to be more mad this year. I do not envy whichever point guard is guarding him on the nightly basis. I think through sheer will and determination, Russell Westbrook will get his team to the playoffs. It's going to be tough beating the Warriors or the Spurs, though, if you're OKC, without another superstar. But I will take the over on OKC.
All right, Brad, I got a question for you.
All right.
What team in the NBA do you think will be the surprise team? Like, what team do people not expect to be one of the top teams that's going to surprise people and make the playoffs and make a little run?
From things that I've read, professionals have been saying the Jazz, which they have really good pieces and they could be surprising. But I'm gonna go with Tibbs and the Timberwolves.
I'm so glad you said that. That's the exact team that I was thinking about.
Perfect pick.
Yeah.
That's why you're on the pod,
They're
Brad.
gonna be really good.
Welcome to Running Wild, Brad. Welcome to Running Wild. I agree with you. The Timberwolves are fantastic. They got young studs. Karl Anthony Towns is a star. Wiggins, he might have had a little bit down year last year that he had the year before, but Wiggins is going to be a really, really good player. Rubio, it looks like he's on the trade block, but they just got Chris Dunn, who's going to be a stud. They got Zach LaVine. He's a stud. I really like what they're doing.
Plus, Tom Thibodeau will improve their defense. They got enough weapons on
They needed
offense.
that.
I like Minnesota to sneak into the playoffs this year.
Yeah. I just saw some stat today that Ricky Rubio actually led the leagues in steals for point guards.
Oh, wow. I did not.
I didn't know he was that good. Too bad he can't shoot.
Utah Jazz, they had a good offseason too. They acquired Joe Johnson, Boris Diaw, who, if you've been watching NBA preseason, he's been working well with Rudy
Plus,
Gobert.
Boris Diaw can lock down LeBron for some reason. It really defies the laws of physics.
A couple years ago.
Hey, I don't think Boris got any different. He's like the same player.
He still has that cappuccino machine in his locker.
Sure does. Needs that caffeine.
And plus they got George Hill. Dante Exum is a year older. I definitely like the Timberwolves and Utah Jazz. How about the Indiana Pacers? Anything on them, Brad?
Irrelevant.
Let's see here. Paul George is he's amazing. I mean, seeing him come back from that awful injury, he might be MVP if they can make some noise in the East and get a high seed in the playoffs. He might be MVP. I like him. They have Jeff Teague now. He's going to be an okay point guard. They lost George Hill. They lost a little bit of defense there, but Jeff Teague has shown that he can hang. Then Monta Ellis, he's great.
Very underrated player.
Yeah. The only thing I'm concerned with is their centers and their big men and holding the fort down there.
I think outside of PG-13, they're pretty much awful.
What on earth, Spencer?
Wow.
This is how you lose your basketball
But
credentials.
even if they're top 4 in the East, does that even make you a good team still?
That's very true.
They are. Jeff Teague is an all-star. Thaddeus Young, Al Jefferson, good acquisitions. Monta Ellis, Paul George. Paul George willed the Pacers to the playoffs. They got a little better. I don't know if I'm not saying they will, but if any team in the East can, the Pacers can compete with the Cavs.
Wow. Strong statement.
It is, but Paul George can play good defense on LeBron, and I mean, if you can rattle him a little bit, then you can beat him in any
Yeah.
game.
He does have the size on it, or, comparable to him. That's true.
I think the Pacers will be a fun team to watch this year. Let's move on to the two most overhyped teams in the NBA right now. The Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks. Oh my god, they're going to make the playoffs. No, they won't. Vegas has them at 38.5.
I'd
Brad,
have to beg to differ.
Brad, what's your-
The Knicks are going to make the playoffs this year.
Brad, what's your take on it?
Am I talking about the Knicks right now?
Yeah, take your pick.
Okay, I'll talk about the Knicks. I do think they're going to make the playoffs. I'm going to agree with Spencer.
What on earth?
Thanks,
They're
Brad.
in the East. Derrick Rose's trial just got over, so they don't have that hanging over their heads the whole season, which was the thought. They were going to drag that out.
Right.
New coach, Jeff Hornacek, implementing the triangle in various ways. If Derrick Rose can stay healthy and Joakim Noah can come back and play like he used to.
Yeah, that's
in
the if
little
of the
spurts,
century, Brad.
Yeah. I'm not talking about big minutes, just little minutes. I think they're going to be pretty good because, Carmelo,
Oh my goodness.
he's the man.
I don't know how good they will be, but they'll definitely make playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 7 or 8 seed.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, this segment I call The Voice of Reasoning, brought to you by Gabriel Esparza. All right, Brad.
Who's that?
Brad Spencer, let me tell you why the Knicks do not make playoffs.
Okay.
All right, we are no longer in the year 2012 or 2014. This is 2016, 2017.
I didn't know that. Thanks for clearing that up.
Apparently you don't, because Noah and Rose are past their prime. They're way too injury prone. They might be great in spurts for the 20 games that they're out there. Melo couldn't handle Jeremy Lin as a teammate. You think he's going to be able to handle these?
Yep.
Melo and Rose are way too ball dominant to be able to share the ball, share the limelight, and everything. There's no way the Knicks make the playoffs. Plus, even if they do, you might get spurts of offensive greatness. I don't see too much defense. Porzingis is the only hope I have for the Knicks.
Oh my God, Gabe. We're talking playoffs. We're not talking championship. We're talking playoffs. The Knicks have enough talent to be an 8th seed at least.
I think 38 wins is appropriate for the Knicks.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I
I might bump it up to 40, Brad, just for you, but that's just because I like you.
Guys, mark this down on your calendars right now and then wait till after the season and just rip him.
Moving on to the next overrated team, who actually might stand a chance. 38.5 wins for Chicago. I legitimately will take the over on this, but it's going to be tough for them making the playoffs, too. The same issues. You have ball-centric, ball-dominant Rondo, Wade, I don't know, and Jimmy Butler. They all need the ball in their hands. Someone's going to be left out. And plus, Wade's past his prime. Rondo, he's a hothead and a half. Brad, what is your take on the Bulls this season?
I agree with you to an extent. I'm going to
boy.
take the over. I think going to be a tiny bit better than what you're expecting, Gabe. Rondo, yes, of course, he's a hothead, but he's also getting a chance to lead a team again, a legitimate team.
No, he said this is Butler's team.
It is Butler's
What's
team.
that?
He said it's Butler's team, so there's no leading for him.
Right.
He doesn't need to lead. He's like a triple-double machine.
Until halfway through the season when he thinks he's an all-star.
Right, exactly.
He puts up numbers
I
when
do
he's out
wanna-
there.
I do want to bring up a stat, if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't
it
mind,
scares me.
Brad.
It's really scary. Okay? It's really
It is
scary.
Halloween season. I'm ready to be scared.
All right. Dwayne Wade last year, through the whole season and playoffs, made 7 3-pointers. 7.
Yeah, he's never been a three-point shooter.
That's not bad.
No, that's not bad. No, I tallied up the big three of Chicago, and they made 133 3-pointers last season,
All right,
all combined.
Spencer, here's why this is the issue. In the small ball, 3-ball era, if you're not good at the 3-ball, you better be good at something. What are they good at? You better be elite at something.
Well, Butler and Wade are pretty elite defenders.
Wade still?
Wade still, yeah,
No. No, you're too.
pretty,
I think
pretty
it
much.
depends on the night.
All right. Just reminder: in the year 2016, not 2014, you're about 3 years late.
As
to this
long as
party.
Wade takes a couple games off, because that's what really helps him.
Yeah.
He can't play every day, but if he takes a day or two off in between games and comes back fresh, yeah, he's still an elite player out
I
there.
hope Chicago Medical Center has their staff on standby.
That is harsh. They're pretty much ready. They went through Derrick Rose
Same
era,
for
didn't
New
they?
York, by the way. Goodness, with Derrick Rose and Noah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're getting paid overtime if you work in a hospital down there. And here's what I do like about the Bulls, though. They do have some nice young talent. Denzel Valentine, Michael Carter Williams.
Dougie McBuckets.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yep.
I think that both the Bulls and the Knicks, they'll be fun to watch. Yeah, I'll watch them.
I don't know how much fun the Bulls are going to be to watch, but I mean, if you like Dwayne Wade, and,
I ain't gonna watch any team but the Cavs.
Any. Might they
I think the
sneak
Knicks
into
might have them tomorrow.
the bold prediction from Brad? Might they sneak eighth spot?
Nope, that's the Knicks.
Sure, maybe. I'm talking about both teams. Sure, maybe. I highly doubt it, though. Way too many problems on both these teams. Brad, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Yes, thanks, Brad, for agreeing with me and having intelligent opinions.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun.